Welcome everyone to Anchors Away as we are dropping episodes on Mondays now to get the full weekend scoop in the very next day rather than, dropping episodes the day, I guess, on Tuesday. So what a crazy weekend for the Seattle teams that we have been, covering the most. And unfortunately, one's going to get dropped here to being very less frequently. But let's talk about it. How was your weekend? What'd you think of the weekend for the sports in Seattle this last couple days?
Yeah, exciting for one. Great crowds in Seattle. Nice to see both T-Mobile Park and Lumen Field filled to capacity. Would have been nice to have seen another T-Mobile Park crowd here on Sunday, but still was exciting. Frustrating at the same point. But I guess that's Seattle sports for you.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing new at that point. Like you said, we've come so just to expect kind of disappointment and letdown, it feels like. And, every once in a while that, the squirrel gets a nut, as they say. And we found one this year. And we'll see how the rest of the year goes. Unfortunately, Mariners is done. We'll just get into this here real quick or coming up. Well,
how was your weekend?
Yeah, can't complain. Got some stuff done. If you're watching the video, you'll see my backdrop has changed quite a bit. I think for the better. I think it gives me the ability to do some things more when it comes to just being able to look up stats and have notes right in front of me rather than looking down at my phone or things like that. So definitely for the best. But let's jump into this now. Let's start the timer. We're back to 5 minutes like I think we did last week. And now that it is on the screen, Seattle Mariners lose a heartbreaker in Game 3 of the American League Division Series against the Houston Astros, going a full 18 innings. So you played 2 games in one sitting there. But what's the thoughts? I mean, unfortunately for Seattle, you basically were in a chance to win all 3 games, and you let it slip through your fingers in each one. But what are your thoughts here on the series itself?
Great series. You kind of had to go with the thought that Houston is the overwhelming favorite.
Yeah.
And of all the teams remaining, I think they're now the overwhelming favorite.
Yeah, definitely.
Series champs. Just because of what happened in the other, series being played.
With the Dodgers losing, yep.
Dodgers losing, the
Braves losing. Yep.
I don't know where the Yankees are at this point.
Currently winning, I think.
Okay, so they'll go to a Game 5 there, so that'll be interesting. But, I think what it really showed was the Astros are still the cream of the crop.
Yep.
Definitely know that. However, the gap got shrunk greatly just from this weekend. I don't think Astros can go, okay, rest on our laurels and know we're the top dog. They know somebody's right there. And Seattle proved it. They could hang with them, but you could see that depth of lineup and the quality of the lineup matters pretty good. Pitching wise, we were toe to toe. And in fact, when they would ever show their stats on the screen, I was shocked how close we were to being almost the same. Starting rotation, bullpen pitching was all there. But I think it was the lineup and just the fact that they had better hitters, better averages, and they could crank it out. But very, very, I felt very good about it. I think where the Mariners are, I think this is the beginning of something big. They haven't been there for 21 years, so of course they didn't have any playoff experience, and even, player wise, they hardly had anybody with playoff experience. So I think, hopefully that would Service learn some lessons, maybe to maybe look at the postseason and analytics a little bit differently, and go, you know what, players play differently during the postseason. Players play a certain way to get through the season. But once the postseason is on, I think you got to throw analytics out the window for the most part and go with hunches. And who's ever the hot hand at that moment in time, you got to, regardless of the analytics, you got to have some guts. And I think the whole team will learn from this, and certainly Scott too. But just some of the decisions that were made obviously were driven by analytics and not gut instinct. So that's what I thought about this whole thing. But really good. I think they know what they need to do in the off season. I think DePoto has a plan. Obviously, his plans worked up to this point, so I have a full faith in that. But yeah, I think we've closed the gap. I think the Rangers are probably going to be there as well next year. So I'm thinking those are your three teams that will be fighting it out. But I felt good. Did I like the outcome? No. Especially that first game. God, I thought, gosh, we're up on Verlander. This is awesome. But again, you just saw how powerful the Astros were. So nothing against the Mariners. They had a great season. Just wasn't our year. It's okay. We got through the wild card, so that was great. So definitely a stepping off point. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the series, you have to feel good. Unfortunately, like I said, it slipped through every game. It felt like, obviously, I think there was a point where we were up by 4 runs going into the last third of the first game, giving that up. And to your point, kind of the hot hand in analytics with Robbie Ray in that one. Looking back, it was definitely not the right call. I definitely would not have pitched to Yordan Alvarez with a lefty, especially coming off that Tampa Bay game, or not Toronto, where he just did not look good. But the rest of the pitching, I'm very pleased with. Just looking at Game 3, George Kirby, he did not pitch like a rookie at all in any game that he pitched in the playoffs. I think that is so great for him going forward. It would have really been nice to see him get the win. But one thing that kind of was interesting to me is it felt like the Mariners lineup, kind of in both series, when the other team was hitting well, Seattle hit well, and when the other team didn't, Seattle didn't. Yeah, which is kind of weird. Obviously, Game 1 in Toronto, they get the 3-run home run from Cal Raleigh, and that was about it. Right. Game 2, Toronto gets very good offense, and then Seattle gets really good. It took them a little bit, but got really good. So it's just kind of a weird thing that I noticed. Yeah. But yeah, you got to feel good about it going forward. Lots of young guys, very minimal experience. I think Scott Service might have had the most playing time playoff, experience on the team next to Carlos Santana, which tells you something. Right. Gotta love what Julio did. He tried to win that game so often for them. The big difference, though, I think it was the batter's eye for the Mariners in the final 9 innings. You could see Houston really trying to work counts where it seemed like Seattle, Julio, Ty, Cal, they all just wanted to hit a home run and get that moment. And they were swinging at things that why are you swinging? Yeah, exactly.
And then watch perfectly good strikes down the middle.
Yeah. So I just think they were too hyped up, and I get it, but a lot to look forward to with this team going into next year. So speaking of next year, let's talk about it here as we go to the second quarter. Some things that I think did stand out in this series. Starting pitching is probably set going into next year. Bullpen I really like. Maybe we get another arm, though. Someone who can be dominant, throws. I don't know if you really need another fast guy or more of like a break, kind of to mix it up, like with Munoz. Brash throws fast because we have a lot of power arms. I almost wouldn't mind a finesse guy.
I think we need some more lefties.
Yeah, we're very right-handed heavy in the bullpen. But kind of the thing that does worry me is the corner outfield.
Yes,
and does. I think it really hurts that Sam Haggerty got hurt.
Yes.
I mean, I know I just double said hurt, but it really did because he was hitting around 300. His speed, just everything about him, we could have used.
Right.
Jared Kelenic, I don't think is the guy. I think he gets traded this year.
I do too.
You gave him as many opportunities as you could in this playoff run to try and show up. Looking at the stats, he went 0 for 7 again with just some ugly swings on ugly pitches.
Again, swinging at stuff out of the zone and watching stuff down the middle, go right down the middle.
Yep. And then going over to right field, even with Mitch Haniger, I think he's only had the 1 year where he's actually been healthy.
Right.
That's where I'm going to be interested in this offseason with the Mariners, what they do with the corner outfield. If Frazier wants to come back on a 1-year deal, honestly, I'll take it because at least his defense is solid enough.
And
there's not free agents.
May come around.
Yeah. He really might now that he's been in the American League for a year. Obviously coming from National League for like 8 years or something like that. And there really isn't a high or a second baseman that I would almost rather have in free agency than him, to be honest.
Yeah, that you're going to put money. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Segura is really the only one that might hit free agency, and I'm not spending the money on him anymore. Before after he left Seattle.
Right.
But the corner outfield. Thoughts on that? What are we doing there? Going into 23, I think that's kind of the weakest spot of the team right now. Besides second.
Yep. I don't know. Do you dare put tip your toes in the water and make an offer
for Judge?
Yeah.
Depends if ownership wants to spend or not.
That's the question. You need a corner outfielder. You need offense.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing with Judge a little bit is how good of a defender is he? I mean, Seattle's larger than the Yankee Stadium. That I don't think anyone would. I think just number wise, it's larger.
Yeah.
I mean, he is only 30, so he's still very much in the prime of his career.
Right.
Coming off arguably the greatest contract year in baseball, obviously going for 62 home runs.
No kidding. Just short of the Triple Crown.
Yep. And it does seem he wants to play with Julio, so it's definitely an option. But do you feel comfortable paying like 8 years? I don't know, something like $300 million to get his average annual around like 40.
As where is this going to say? Yes, I think you need that spark plug, and that would be the spark plug. Because you still have a couple guys in the structures that you might be able to play out and left. I mean, we still don't know about Kyle Lewis, where he's at. Taylor Trammell, got to see what he can do. We know kind of what he has, but maybe if he has a breakout. And then we also have, who is it? There's a couple other guys.
Well, that Cade Marlowe kid, too.
Cade Marlowe, yeah. He might be an option there. So, or we do. I do think Kelnick just, unfortunately, he never even got wound down, even during the playoffs,
Yeah.
And so I think he does need a new place, new scenery.
Yep.
Somewhere where he doesn't have to be the dude. Expectations aren't there. And he just needs to go out and just kind of play and not be without any expectations on him. And that'll probably be the best thing for him. If that happens and he has a great career after that, God bless him.
Yep.
But it's not going to happen with the Mariners. And I think it's time that we have to cut that deal and just accept it as what it is.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's almost like both teams kind of came out with a wash on that trade.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Edwin Diaz had a great year, but the Mets got bounced in the wild card. So
right. Yeah.
And then obviously they ate Cano's contract from us, and we took Kelnick, and then I don't remember who the other couple people were, but yeah, it's unfortunate for him. But I think you're right. He just needs a new scenery on it. It sounds bad, but like maybe Oakland, like just somewhere where there's no pressure at all for him.
Exactly.
Maybe that's a good spot for him.
Kind of Kansas City. It's closer to the Midwest.
Kansas, that's a good option.
Cincinnati, even.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously, I just somewhere Midwest for him might help him out.
Low national coverage, and just like the team's gonna already be in rebuilding mode anyway. Just let him play, and because he's not gonna fit our timeline currently. With high playoff expectations again going into next year. Yeah. All righty, moving on to the third quarter. Let's get that timer started back up. Another 5 minutes on the clock. And it is up. So the Seattle Kraken start, I guess, 1-1-1. I technically have it as 1-2 because they're both losses, but technically 1-1-1 with kind of a heartbreaker against the Ducks to start off the year, up 4-2 with 10 minutes left in the third, and then obviously giving up 2 goals and then that overtime goal as well. But then came right back, got another 4 goals against the Kings, going 4-1, and then a disappointing home opener against the Vegas Golden Knights, going down 2-5. But a lot of good things came from all 3 of these games.
Oh, yeah.
What are your thoughts here, at least through the first 3, where we will be playing Carolina tonight?
Wow. GM Francis sure knows how to go out and get some guys. Burakovsky and Bjorkstrand. Jeez. Hello. Go ahead and start scoring, guys. No problem.
Yeah, I think they both scored, right? In game 1?
Yeah. And then Beniers has scored.
Yep.
I think he scored a couple.
One goal in against the Ducks, and
he got had like a multi.
He had he had an assist against the Kings also.
Yeah, so just really good. The defense with Schultz and Schwartz looking good there. They're just playing a lot faster. I was glad to see that they're starting to take some shots too. I mean,
yeah.
That San Jose game, what did they shoot? Like 41 or 42 shots or whatever. I mean, it was their most that they've ever shot at the goal. So at least now, the more times you shoot, the more times you're going to probably get a puck through. So that was really good. And the power play looks a lot better too. I was really surprised at how well they were able to kill penalty and also score on those. So, just an improvement just in the first couple of games of what they're doing. And I think they're definitely communicating, and they're not, they're skating a lot different. And then Brandon Tanev, wow. I mean, he's already made an impact right out of the gate. So that was almost like picking up another free agent this year too. So I'm digging what the Kraken are doing. They are fast. They're skating great. And yeah, I'm looking forward to, Matty, if he can just keep up the pace, what he's doing, no reason why he couldn't get the Calder Trophy this year.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, like you said, Burakovsky and Bjorkstrand get goals right away in game 1 versus the Ducks. And then, like you said, Brandon Tanev gets his in game 2 against the Kings. So like you said, it's almost like a free agent. And then I believe Justin Schultz scored yesterday. So pretty much all of like the new players, if you will, have already made, Justin Schultz scored yesterday. Like immediate contributions already. Right. And like you said, the shot creating is so much better already than last year. I get it's early in the year and teams are still trying to figure things out, but the fact they put up like 48, 49 shots against the Kings is huge against, Jonathan Quick, who was a legit goalie not that long ago. And I believe he's probably still is. 21. Yeah. Just really good. It's just exciting. I really, you get the heartbreaker for game 1. And definitely some things they got to clear up there, especially that first goal was definitely on the defense. You see on the Facebook group that I'm in with the Kraken fans, immediately we're just thinking, Jones was the second coming of like Patrick Waugh or the best goalie to ever play. And then he comes out and then just kind of has a really bad night against Vegas. So now both goalies have kind of had a rough outing. What do you think Haxtell does here going forward? Do you think Gruby still has like the starting spot, or do you think Jones maybe gets more of the starts going forward?
So far it looks like he's going back and forth with them. So, so I would imagine we'll see Jones in this next one.
You think Jones again? That'd be 3 in a row for him.
I would say Grubauer the next one then.
Okay.
I think he's going to probably do that for a little bit until he sees who's really got the hot hand. Right now, I'm Jones maybe has the slight edge at this rate, but like you said, Jones only has the one good game, but then also has that clunker too. So it'll be interesting to see. But boy, it's kind of weird. It'll be interesting to see what the new goaltending coach, was it Steers or something like that?
Does with them.
And again, I think a little bit of that has to do with the defense too. And I think a couple times Beniers was kind of caught out of spot, or playing the both ways there. So he kind of got caught out of position on a couple plays that led to goals. But that's to be expected coming up. New guy,
it's his 13th NHL game.
So I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with their goalies. I'm hoping Grubauer can figure it out real quickly.
Yeah, because they paid him a good amount of money.
And I'm sure they are hoping he figures it out too. So.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
All right, let's swing it over to the fourth quarter. Timer gets reset like every other time after our 5 minutes are up, and we always go over, but that's okay.
That's okay. It's keeping us closer.
The Seattle Seahawks beat the Arizona Cardinals and are once again tied for first place in the NFC West.
Damn it.
Which is just not what I wanted at the beginning of the year, but it keeps happening, and I'm not sure what to think going forward. Geno Smith kind of had a more pedestrian-like day, going 20 for 31 with 197. But I think kind of the good news here is Ken Walker, 21 carries, 97 yards, and a touchdown, and he made some big-time carries when they needed it, taking on the full running back workload, obviously not having Rashad Penny anymore. Noah Fant's your leader in receiving, which you paid DK a lot of money, and he got 2 carries. Not great there. But what's your thoughts here after the win against the Cardinals?
They had to win, didn't they?
Yep, they did.
Yeah. They're just going to be mediocre all year.
Yep.
And that sucks.
Yep.
So we're looking at, probably Denver's going to be mediocre too. So we're looking at 18s and 20s. That's probably what we're looking at for draft picks in the first round. God, it's so difficult because the NFC West, for some reason this year, decided to get really lousy.
Yep. When people thought it would be just a bloodbath division.
Right. Again. And here we see the Rams are definitely Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah. Not the same team.
They're not the same team. San Francisco is just shell-shocked with injuries.
And lost to Atlanta.
Exactly. And, well, the Arizona's.
They're trash. They're not good.
They're trash.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I can't say, that Seattle has that great of an opportunity to take over the division either. I mean, it's the weirdest thing to be in that position, but I don't know if anybody really wants to win this division this year at this rate.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's weird. It's just weird how bad the division got just like overnight. It's like, So what do you do as a Seahawk? They're close. I mean, I think the offense they can generate to go play. I didn't see enough to go, oh yeah, the defense has turned it around, but there's some guys that did step up today.
Yep.
Tariq Woolen, wow. Struck gold there with the first round, wide receiver turns defensive back and lightening up the NFL. I mean, Richard Sherman 2.0, I guess.
Yeah.
So we got some young guys that are really starting to play. But again, it's like next week we got on the docket
the Chargers.
The Chargers, which is going to be a loss.
It goes the Chargers, the Giants, which are surprising 5-1.
That's going to be a loss.
And then back to Arizona, then Tampa, which I believe is in London this year, and then they're on their bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could be back to being 5-5 at that point.
Yeah.
Which is just ludicrous to say that, but I'm like going, well, the next 2 are probably losses, but then doggone, they might be able to pull out a win there. Yeah,
and Tampa's not Tampa. They're not that good this year. Losing to Pittsburgh today. Something is completely off with that team. And
the offensive line is cruddy. They can't protect Brady. Brady's upset with everybody. He's out of his mind. He may not even make it to London at this rate. Who knows? But
yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Like you said, it's kind of the worst spot for us because they're good enough where it's like, hey, you might win the West. You might make the playoffs at like 7-10. But, it's also
But it'd be a one and done probably in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. And then you're picking where you've picked every year so far.
23, 24.
Denver will be right with you. They're going to play the Chargers tomorrow night, or I guess tonight when this is uploaded. Gosh, it sucks because we've gone for almost 10 years now of like expecting wins and wanting to win. And this year I've kind of come out with like, well, I'm not expecting much. I'll take some losses. Let's get a high pick. And except we keep winning. And realistically, we could be 5-1. We should have beat Atlanta, should have beat New Orleans. And now you're sitting at 5-1 in sole control of the West.
Right.
Which is just so weird.
I know.
I really don't know how to take this going forward because we're just not bad enough where we're going to get a good pick. That we have good enough players where they'll produce enough points to beat some teams, and not a good enough defense to beat the team. It sucks. It really does.
It really does. Bottom line, it sucks this year. And it's weird. It's just weird to be a fan of the Seahawks this year is not fun.
No, because like I said, I'm willing to lose games to get a top pick and get one of those 3 quarterbacks, and it's not going to happen. And we're probably not going to win enough to make the playoffs. So it's very weird, unfortunate. But at least
in mediocrity this year. I guess you just got to go, okay, well, we'll see what we end up with. It's great to cheer them on and get behind them, and I hope they do well. But on the other hand, it's like,
I'd like a pick.
It's better for the long term.
Exactly. I mean, hopefully Denver just completely falls apart and their pick ends up in the top 5 or top 6, and you get what you want there.
Yeah.
But that does hit the timer. Final remarks before we close it out tonight.
Thanks, Seattle Mariners, for a great season. It's tough being a Seattle sports fan. You live and die with these guys. The high of the highs and the low of the lows. I guess that's sports in general for everybody. But it'd be nice to finally get on the winning side of something for a little bit. We got spoiled with the Sounders, and this year they kind of didn't do it this year, and it was weird. Even as being a Sounders fan, to not be in the playoffs. It was just kind of like, whoa, this is really weird. I don't know how to handle this. And so the Mariners kind of gave a little bit of joy, and now they're out of it. And now you rest your laurels on a second-year hockey team. Yep. That's fun. At least they're fun, and they're going places, and it's neat to see the progression. So I guess that's the big thing with me this year, and the teams is. Going to glom onto the Kraken a little bit, and then the Seahawks is just, I don't know.
Yep.
Like you said, I was in the mindset of losing.
Yep, I think a lot of people were.
To be honest with you, I was like, it's okay as long as we're competitive, and we're just not rolling over and losing like 3-28 every game.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I would like to see competitiveness, so you can go, okay, this is what we need for next year to get us over the hump and to be competitive and to actually win some playoff games. But I don't know. So I guess this week we'll be kind of watching the Kraken a little bit.
Yeah.
Because that's all we got really left to watch right now. And we'll go from there. But kind of weird. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So it's just weird being a Seattle sports fan right now. It's just, gosh, it's like crazy. But at least I can go to bed at a decent hour most nights now. So
yeah.
Pretty going to bed at 1:30 in the morning to try to watch a full game or something.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It's tough.
Yep. Well, a heck of a run by the Mariners. Julio Rodriguez is a superstar in the making, and a lot to expect coming from them.
Oh, yeah.
But that, of course, has been another episode of Anchors Away. We thank you all for watching. Go ahead, subscribe, like, and comment. We will see you all in the next episode.
Have a good one.